Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanubhishtam Purnam Radhadasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Rupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismira Hasara Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Devi Ai Priyaye Keshava Secha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradatama Shri Guru Padapadama Nitalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev. And to my most worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru Nitalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vigyana Bharati Goswami Maharaj. And to all Shirupanava Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all the Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So continue reading from Shri Gopi-gita, verse 19. Yate sujata charanam guruham staneshu bhita shane priyadadi mahikaraka sheshu te nata vingmatasitad vyatate na kim suit kurpadivir brahmatidhir bhava ayusham naha. O beloved, fearing to hurt your very tender lotus feet, we carefully place them on our hard breasts. Tonight, with those very same soft feet, you are wandering somewhere in this secluded forest. Are your lotus feet not in pain, being injured by sharp stones, edges of dry grains, and the like? Oh, you who are our very life, our intelligence is bewildered, overwhelmed with thoughts of you. So again, in this last verse of Gopi-gita, the gopis, they are calming down. They are very cool now because pangs of separation are very extreme now. And Krishna is about to appear at any moment. So as we read from previous verse 18th, they were already changing their moods as the previous ones, like 17, 16, 15, they were very hard with Krishna because they were very angry. Krishna wasn't, coming back, and he disappeared. But seeing that they're not actually going to get any benefit from chastising Krishna, they start to become very soft. And again, in this verse, they're very much concerned about Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna's lotus feet is very tender, very soft. And they are concerned that by walking the forest, his feet may get hurt. We heard many verses previously also, gopis also with the same concern about Krishna's lotus feet. And so in this way, now they tell him, oh, you are our very life, and our intelligence is totally bewildered, overwhelmed in thoughts of you. We cannot think about anything else. So now let's see what is Srila Gurudev's commentary, Bhava Prakashika Vritti. In his commentary on the previous verse, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the gopis told Krishna, give a little, a very little of a remedy that will subside our heart disease and give us pleasure. And it should have two effects. It should remove all kinds of miseries, Brijinahan Tralam, and it should bestow auspiciousness, Vishwamangalam. So the previous verse was about this. The gopis, they request Krishna for a little bit of medicine. And it was very funny because at same way, at same time that they are asking for a little bit, they after tell Krishna, but little will not do. We need a lot of medicine. It's just like if you sprinkle some water in the fire, in the big fire, that water will not extinguish the fire, it will increase the fire. Just as if you have poured ghee in the fire. So in the same way, Gopi's disease is what? Kama, is transcendental love for Krishna. And the only medicine is if Krishna appears to them. And if he again will join them for Rasalila. But if he comes just for a moment and then leaves, that's going to increase actually their suffering. It's not going to actually cure their disease. So therefore, the gopis are saying, okay, just give me little. But in fact, little means a lot. Not only a lot, it means everything. Krishna should give his everything. Krishna should himself, give his whole being to the gopis. And then the gopis, they can become satisfied. Then Krishna asked the gopis, a little of what? And the gopis replied, you are the doctor, the best doctor in fact. We do not have to tell you what to give us. You certainly have the appropriate medicine to counteract the heart disease of those who are your very life and soul. And Krishna said, you cannot understand what heart disease you refer to. You are the doctor, so you should know. We do not have much knowledge about diseases, but you do. And Krishna says, I still do not understand what you are talking about. You will have to be more specific. Krishna wanted them to state their desire directly, but the gopis would not do so. Rather, they communicated indirectly by their movements. And then Krishna insisted, I will not give you anything until you plainly tell me the specific nature of your heart disease and what medicine you want. Otherwise, how can I remove your disease? When he persisted with this point, the gopis began to weep. As described in the verse beginning, Yate sujata charanam buruham staneshu, means this very 19th verse. They now say, oh dearly beloved, we will tell you our heart disease and the medicine we want. We worry that you walk on the rough places with your lotus feet, which are so sweet, tender, soft, and full. The word sujata in this verse refers to someone who has been born in a very respectable family. For example, the lotus flower is sujata because it blossoms in pure, clean water. Thus, it has many natural qualities like softness and a sweet fragrance. It also gives a cooling effect. The gopis use this word to describe the qualities of Krishna's lotus feet, means sujata, and their anxiety that those feet are pained. Just as they expressed their anxiety about Krishna's walk in the forest in this verse, they had previously done so in the verse 11. Verse 11 says, Chalas yad braja charayam pashum, nalita sundaram, Natate padam, shilatrinam kurei sidati tina, kalilatam mana kantagachati. O Master, O beloved, when you leave Braj to take the cows and other animals out to graze, the soles of your feet, which are more tender than the lotus, must suffer great pain from sharp pebbles, grasses, and edges of dry grains. When we think about this, our minds become very agitated. So at that time, they said, Miss Gopis, when you go to the forest to take the cows out for grazing, the stones, shoots, and blades of rough grass, Shilatrinam kurei sidatiti, prick your very soft and tender lotus feet. Actually, when Shri Krishna takes the cows out to graze during the day, he goes to lush green pasturing grounds. The personification of this earth planet, Prithvi Devi, is one of his queens. Especially for the comfort of his lotus feet, she grew soft, silken grasses at the time of his appearance in this world. Means Prithvi Devi is one of Krishna's consorts. She would never allow Krishna to hurt his feet. So wherever Krishna is walking, she's making the softest ground as possible for Krishna to walk. So she said, here Gurudev says, silken grass, the grass as soft as silk. So there is nothing more soft than the grasses of Vrindavan. Wherever he goes, Prithvi Devi extends her tongue, which is hundreds of thousands of times softer than any carpet under his lotus feet. So what to speak of grasses? Krishna is walking on the tongue of Prithvi Devi. Thus, there is no chance of his feet contacting sharp stones, edges of dry grains, or shoots. Moreover, Vrindavan is always managed by Vrinda Devi, who has arranged that not a single stone or other sharp object would be there to hurt his feet. In this verse, the gopis say, Yate sujata charanam buruham staneshu. Now it is night, and the ground on the banks of Yamuna is covered with sharp stones. We fear that your lotus feet are being pricked by stones and sharp dry grains as you walk in dark and dangerous places. So just remembering that Krishna, he disappeared at midnight when he was with the gopis. So at that moment, he's walking the forest barefoot. So now they are also concerned about not only when he goes out with cows, but at that very moment when he left Rasa dance. At that very moment also, they are concerned about his lotus feet. Why do they speak in this way? They have no need for such concern, but one who has tender feelings for another person always thinks like this. If a man is late in returning home, all his loved ones will think, why is he late? What has happened? His wife may think, is he late because his train derailed? Is he seriously injured? What should I do? And she may think, maybe he has been attacked by dacoits. Why is he late? So she repeatedly goes to the door and to look for him, and she asks even her children, what is the reason he has not returned home? What is the reason? Her children are young and cannot reply. They can only hear her words, but still she questions them. She again questions herself, although there is really no need for concern. Her husband is peacefully on his way home. Similarly, the gopis are in anxiety for Krishna's welfare. Why? In the first verse of their Gopi-gita, they had said, Jayati te dikam janamana braja, shrayata indira shashwadatrahi, daita drishyatam dikshuta vakas, twaidrita savas tvam vichingvate. O most beloved, because of your birth in this land of Braja, the entire area has become more glorious than Vaikuntha and other planets. It is for this reason that Lakshmi, the goddess of beauty and wealth, eternally decorates it with her presence. O beloved, in this most blissful land of Braja, it is only we gopis who are not happy. We maintain our lives solely for your sake, being extremely anguished in separation from you, and are wandering from forest to forest in search of you. Therefore, please appear before us now. This is the first verse of Gita, of Gopi-gita. Gopis are requesting Krishna, please appear before us right now. Tvaidrita savas. Now this is the next line of the 19th verse. Asavas mean life heirs. They told Krishna, you are our life. Now in verse 19, they say the same thing. Dhir bhav ayusham naha. The word asavas in verse 1 has the same meaning as ayusham in this verse, wherein the gopis now say, you are our life, you are our soul, you are our everything. If anything hurts your feet, that pain pierces our soul. Because you are our soul, you may not feel the pinching, but will feel it. So the word anga means limb or bodily part. We carefully tend to different parts of our body, yet the life air is superior to all these bodily parts. We can remain alive if a limb is amputated, but if the life air leaves the body, we die at once. So just if you can remember last verse, gopis, they call Krishna Anga. When they were cooling down, they were not more like abusing him. They started calling him Anga. Anga means part of the body. It means that Krishna, he is like part of Gopi's body, so intimate. But now gopis are going even more intimate. They're saying you are our life air. Because you can even live without a limb of your body, but you cannot live without your life air. So now they're going even deeper in their loving expressions to Krishna. Life, ayus, lives in the heart. And that is why we want to keep your soft, fragrant, cooling lotus feet very gently and carefully there. In this way, you will not feel any discomfort. Please do not walk in the forest any longer. Return to us. We want to place your lotus feet here on our hearts so that you will not feel any pain. This is our disease. Our hearts are pained because we know you are receiving so many injuries while you roam in the forest. This is the scorching fire that burns our hearts. So Krishna asks, why must you place my feet on your hearts so gently and carefully? And gopis reply, your feet is extremely soft, and we fear that our breasts are very hard. And Krishna says, why do you want to keep my very soft and tender feet on your hard breasts? Oh, it is because your lotus feet are so dear to us. We want to serve them on our hearts, because the heart is superior to all the other parts of the body. We do not want to keep them anywhere else. So the contact Krishna's lotus feet will have with the gopis' breast is just a consequence that they want to bring it closer to their heart. When you really love something and you really means care for something, you always want to keep here. This is the movement we do. Very dear. Why? Because it's the heart position. Usually we say heart is on the left side. Actually, heart is quite in the middle of the chest. Not exactly on the right side. It's more towards like middle. So this is the part, of the body where we keep our emotions. And bhakti is all about emotions. Of course, transcendental emotions, but in the very beginning, we have to work with our material emotions as well. So in Bhakti Yoga, we always like to develop this part, this chakra. We are not seeking for meditation on higher chakras. because this is for meditation, this is for jnana, this is for different things. But bhakti is nourished here, in the heart. So gopis, they want to keep Krishna's lotus feet here, in their heart always. So in this way, they're saying we are going to put it very gently, not to harm your feet due to our hard breasts. But their desire is to keep Krishna's feet on their hearts. So then, now gopis are not expressing their mood directly, but in their hearts, they are saying, we keep your lotus feet on our heart for your satisfaction. You want this. And that is why we wish to keep them there. So actually, the gopis, they are taking the side of the one who are in need of something, but in fact, Krishna is in need of gopis. And the gopis are just expressing that to captivate Krishna, to fulfill actually his own desires, not gopis' desires, because they are completely selfless. So gopis continue. But now we see that you are roaming here and there in the dense, dark forest, and we are searching for you. And Krishna, he then inquires, why are you so confused and disturbed? And gopis reply, you are the life of our lives, just as they had said in the first verse of this Gopi-gita. In Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, the same auspicious words are uttered in both the first and last verses. The first verse in Srimad Bhagavatam ends with Dhimahi, Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate on the supreme absolute truth. And Dhimahi is repeated in Bhagavatam's final verse, 12, 13, 19. Kasmei jenna vibhasitoyam atullo jnana pradipa pura tadrupena chadnaradhaya munaye krishnaya tad rupina yogindraya tad atmanatha bhagavat rathaya karunyatas tad chudham vimalam vishwakam amritam satyam param dhimahi. I meditate upon the pure and spotless supreme absolute truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who in the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to the sage Narad, who narrated it to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Srila Vyasa revealed this Bhagavatam to the greatest sages, Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami mercifully spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit. So, same also last one, Satyam Param Dhimahi, as in the first verse of Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, we find the same principle. Shri Krishna began his instructions after hearing Arjuna say, I surrender myself at your feet. Arjuna had uttered this verse, Karpanya doshat pahatta swabhava prichani tom dharma samudacheta yat shreyasyam nishchittam bruhitam me shishasteham shadimam tvam prapanam. Bhagavad Gita 2.7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. In this verse, the word prapanam, meaning surrender, refers to the same tenet of surrender, sharanagati, described by Krishna in one of the very last verses. There he told Arjuna, Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarvapappebhyo mokshayashami ma shuchaha. Bhagavad Gita 1866. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So in the beginning and the end of all Vedic scriptures, the same principle is repeated. Important truths and instructions are repeated again and again. And that is why we repeat Hare Krishna, again and again and again. chanting and remembering our sadhana. And it is the object of all the scripture. It is everything. We can also recall another verse which also repeats Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nastiva, nastiva, nastiva ghatir anyatha. So when the instruction is very important, it will be repeated to emphasize, and to stress the necessity of really understanding and following that instruction. So Harinama is Shri Krishna and Shri Radha themselves, and therefore pure chanting is our ultimate goal. Similarly, the fundamental objective of the gopis, you are our life, is repeated many times in Srimad Bhagavatam. In particular, it appears throughout Gopi-gita, in the beginning, several times in the middle, and also at the end. The gopis say, your happiness and our love for you is our very life. We suffer intolerably if anything threatens our life. This is our heart disease. In his commentary, Srila Jiva Goswami has given us a very good explanation of some of the meanings of this verse. But still, he is concealing something. He has not fully expressed his ideas. And finally, he has written, you will know the full meaning of this verse by practicing Rupanuga Bhajan. In order to practice Rupanuga Bhajan or Raganuga Bhakti, one needs the mercy of the Lord's associates. In this regard, Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami prays in his Stavavali to Srila Rupa Goswami. Guru mantrinamini prabhuvara shachigar bhajapade swarupe shirupe ganna yudi tadiya prathamaje girindre gandharva sarassi madhu puryam brajavane braja bhakte gostalaishu param mastam mamaratihi. Shri Swaniyama Dashakam, verse 1. So he says, I am so much indebted to you, Srila Rupa Goswami. You have given me everything I require for my spiritual perfection in Raganuga Bhajan. You have taught me how to control my mind, how to think, how to enter into this realm of Raganuga. Paramastam mamaratihi. Here the words mamaratihi imply that one should have great love for one's guru, one's Diksha mantra, Sri Harinama, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Swarupa Damodar Goswami, and Srila Rupa Goswami, along with Srila Rupa Goswami's followers, and his older brother, Srila Sanatana Goswami. Girindra means Giriraj Govardhan. Gandharva Sarasi is Radhakunda. Madhupuryam refers to Mathura. Brajavane means Vrindavan. And Gostaleshu refers to all those who dwell in Braj. Srila Raghunatha Das Goswami indicates that we should have deep love for the lotus feet of all these divine personalities. He says, Rupa Goswami has given me the ability to control my mind and senses. He has given me the power of spiritual discernment, faith in the Supreme Lord, and freedom from sensual and mental transformations, lust, when meditating on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So this is the translation of this verse. So if in our early stage of development in bhakti, we remember the intimate pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna in solitary places, a lusty feeling is bound to enter our hearts. It will surely come. If we try to remember the Lord's intimate pastimes without having received the grace or instructions of our Gurudev, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and Srila Rupa Goswami, we will certainly go to the lowest of hells. So therefore, it's good to also understand how Srila Gurudev, throughout the book, by the end of every purport, mostly, not all, but most of them, he also emphasizes this point, that to realize deeper, you have to do bhajan. He often says, I cannot express everything, I cannot disclose all the meanings, I'm just scratching the surface to give you what you can digest, but you have to realize everything by yourself. This is also the very important instructions of Srila Gurudev in this book. So all our acharyas, such as Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunatha Das Goswami, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, can protect us from this. And therefore, we first where is it? And therefore, we first pray to their mercy when beginning our sadhan bhajan. Srila Raghunatha Das Goswami surmounted all obstacles by Srila Rupa Goswami's mercy. And he therefore says, I remember all of Radha and Krishna's pastimes without experiencing bodily or mental lust. If we are not situated in bhakti, as he is, it is essential for us to hear or read these topics very carefully, praying to our acharyas and to the pastimes themselves to protect us from misunderstanding them to be material. So we should always study under guidance of Srila Gurudev. Therefore, we are reading Gurudev's books. And whatever we can digest, whatever we can understand, Gurudev is giving. Not more, not less. There are many books which talks about many deeper, relationships between Radha and Krishna, but we should only read those books under guidance of, Gurudev. Either your Diksha Guru or your Shiksha Guru, but your guardian. You should not adventure yourself reading so many different scriptures. It's not going to be beneficial to you. Many devotees, they become like, itching, out of curiosity, or let me read this one, let me know this one. Be careful. It's just like you trying to taste poison to see if it's sweet or salt. Be very careful. We should not try to go like this. We are not like child more. Children, if parents say, don't touch that place, first thing children will do is touching that place. Parents say, don't touch the outlet, the current plug. And child is going there and touching, and then shock comes. Otherwise, fire is there. So many things. Don't touch anthill. Don't play with anthill. And child is going there. But we are not children anymore. We have to be really able to follow Gurudev's instruction and not pay to see, So Gurudev has given already so much in his books, so much. We can read again and again, and learn more every time. We don't need to go to any other books, any other different, not to say books of other acharyas, I mean to say we should only read those books who are recommended for us. Our study should be under guidance. Under guidance. Even Srila Gurudeva himself, he published many high-class books, like, for example, Gita Govinda. Myself, I am not qualified to read this book. So therefore, I'm not come even close to this book. So everything we should be very careful. If you really want bhakti, if you really want to progress properly in this way, curiosity is not a good ingredient for this process. But instead, rather, we should be very much respectful and not trying to invade the intimacy of Radha and Krishna. This is not respectful. Always we should remember, it's not about getting information. It's about being accepted in that realm. Bhakti is about being invited to enter in that place, not just going by curiosity. This becomes very much like disrespectful. So anyway, so let us continue here. The gopis very clearly tell Krishna, we have understood our disease. If anything penetrates your lotus feet, we feel it penetrating our hearts. We want some medicine for this. So please come out of the forest. Do not remain there any longer. Please come to us. We will then place your lotus feet on our hearts very gently and carefully as medicine for the disease that resides there. If you do not do this, we will die. We will only be able to maintain our lives if we can take your lotus feet in our own hands and with intense feelings of possessiveness, mamata, towards you, place them on our breasts. In Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu 1.41, prema has been described as a deep sense of possessiveness towards Krishna. Samyam mashanita swanto mamat twasyankita bhava sa eva sandratma buddhai prema nigadyate. The advanced stage of Bhava Bhakti, which melts the heart much more than its initial stage, which greatly augments feelings of transcendental bliss, and which bestow a deep sense of mamata, possessiveness in relation to Krishna, is known as prema by the learned. So prema is Bhava Bhakti that has become extremely condensed, means sandratma. The mood you are mine and we are yours is known as mamata. And this mood is fully present in the gopis. So Jiva Goswami says that the gopis are the very embodiments of prema in the stage of Mahabhav, and that this mood fully lives in them only. When Shri Krishna hears this prayer of the gopis, their words penetrate his heart. He is their life breath and their life itself. So when they weep and speak in this way, his heart melts. I should not conceal myself any longer, he thinks. I must appear before them. In Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, I am the heart of my pure devotees, and my pure devotees are my heart. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam twaham, maddanyat tinat jananti, natam tevyo managapi. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.68. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me. I do not know anyone else but them. Very beautiful verse. So now Krishna, he's a little bit, emotional. He became concerned, about gopis suffering, and now he's thinking, okay, now it's time to come back, time to again show myself. Krishna expresses his heart in this way, and the ladies of Mathura also explain this fact. When he and Balaram entered the wrestling arena to fight with Chanur and Mustika, the ladies of Mathura began discussing how the gopis always remember Krishna, no matter what activity they are engaged in. The verse says, Ya dohanni bahananni matannat palepa prinke karnava ruditokshana marjanado gayanti chainam anuraktadhyo shrukantyo dhanya braj striya urukramachittayanaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:44-15. Ladies of Braja are the most fortunate women because with their minds fully attracted to Krishna and their throats always choked up with tears, they constantly sing about him while milking the cows, winnowing grain, churning butter, gathering cow dung for fuel, riding on swings, taking care of their crying babies, sprinkling the ground with water, cleaning their houses, and so on. By their exalted Krishna consciousness, they automatically acquire all desirable things. Urukrama chittayanaha. The gopis' minds are absorbed in Krishna while they make cow dung patties and prepare cracked wheat, dalia. While they smear the flour in their homes with mud and cow dung, and while they put their babies to sleep. They do not sing, oh babies, you should sleep. Rather, in very sweet, gentle voices, they sing the names of Krishna. Govinda Damo Darumadaveti, Govinda Damo Darumadaveti, Govinda Damo Darumadaveti, Govinda Damo Darumadaveti. Shri Krishna is always on their minds, and they are always on his, even while he is away in Mathura or Dwaraka. They are always thinking of him. Now, in his 19th verse of Gopi-gita, Shri Krishna hears the gopis' prayer and thinks, the gopis are weeping and grievously lamenting in the pain of separation from me. I should not leave them alone any longer. I will appear to them and fully give myself to them. I hide from them only to see their moods of separation from me. And having seen that, I am fully satisfied. Never I have seen such exalted sentiments. I can no longer remain hidden from them. The desire to perform varieties of loving pastimes arises in Krishna's heart. And he thinks, I shall now engage in sportive pastimes with the gopis, and I shall make their words a reality. Shri Krishna is aptakama, meaning that all his desires are fulfilled automatically. He is also atmarama, fully satisfied within himself. He takes pleasure in his own self. He always plays there, free from desires. But when he sees his devotees' desire to serve him, he immediately desires to accept their service. Srila Jiva Goswami states, I have not revealed all of the gopis' moods. Not all their moods can be told. A Vaishnava should practice sadhana bhajan. Then all pastimes and devotional sentiments will enter his heart automatically. And he can achieve full realization of them. He concludes his commentary by offering utmost respects to all the Lord's amorous pastimes. Although Srila Jiva Goswami is always internally absorbed in the Parakya mood, the mood of paramour love between Shri Krishna and the gopis, he remains externally considerate of Maryada, means etiquette. Therefore, his writings on the Gauriya Siddhanta are often impartial and scholarly, respecting those in the Swakya mood, the mood of considering the gopis to be married to Krishna, and those in the Parakya mood as well. This created a philosophical platform for Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur to later openly emphasize the superiority of the Parakya mood. So often people say that Srila Jiva Goswami is not in line with our Rupa Goswami Pad because he's advocating Swakya. But Srila Jiva Goswami himself, he is making a disclaimer saying that he is only writing that Swakya is superior and is the actual standard for Radha Krishna's relationship, to avoid the mundane people in this world, to misunderstand, Radha Krishna's relationship, and not to try to also implement that in their material lives, because parakya in material lives is something abominable. Also, there is so much influence of Mayavadism. So therefore, Jiva Goswami is very carefully protecting parakya by creating a fence, like a wall, of Swakya, influence in general public. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had no concern for the opinions of others in this world. Everything caught in a swift current becomes immersed in that current. And even an elephant may be carried away. Similarly, unable to check himself, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is caught in such a current. He speaks from his heart, impelled by his own extreme eagerness. So still we have many pages of commentary about this verse. So we're going to just go a little bit further and then stop and then continue next time. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has offered a thoughtful commentary on this 19th verse. Krishna asks, "O Rasika Gopis, what is that you are begging?" Gopis say, "Do you want to serve my lotus feet?" Krishna says, "Do you want to serve my lotus feet by putting them on your breasts? This is not possible. My feet are fully satisfied to walk through the forest of Vrindavan, so I will not put them where you want. I have no time at all for such things." This brings deep sorrow to the gopis' hearts. As they chant this verse, they begin to weep. In India, women often weep as they express their feelings in very sweet songs, and it cannot be discerned whether they are singing or weeping. Perhaps those who have been in Math or in India, they have witnessed this. It's really amazing. You can't actually distinguish if they're crying or just singing, because such a deep, like heavy heart melodies, and the way they sing it's very, very touching. It is described in Brihad Bhagavatamrita that Gopkumar heard something that sounded like a very beautiful song. He followed that song, and as he came nearer, he could not understand whether the singer was weeping or overjoyed. Following the sound a bit further, he entered a kunja. There he saw that his guru was sweetly singing, yet at the same time weeping with tears in his eyes, quite unconscious of the external world. Similarly, the gopis weep as they sing their mellifluous song, Yate Sujata Charanam Buruham Staneshu. We carefully and gently hold your lotus feet on our heart. Why on their heart? The heart is the best part of the body. One who has something very valuable and precious keeps that possession close to the heart. As mentioned in our discussion, Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary, the gopis tell Krishna, "You are our life. Everything about you and each part of you, your feet, hands, head, and everything else is our life. We want to keep our life in our heart. We want to serve our life very tenderly and gently. But you are running here and there throughout the forest of Vrindavan, where there are rough places full of sharp stones and other things that can hurt your feet." As mentioned above, there is no fear of stones and other sharp objects in Vrindavan. There exists no imperfection at all. As stated in the first verse of Gopi-gita, Vrindavan has been decorated by Shri Lakshmi Devi, who is present there. Jayati Tedikam Jannamana Braja Shrayat Indira. Vrindavan is not a desert, nor it is a hilly place. On the contrary, it is terrain and very gentle and verdant. But the gopis do not acknowledge this. They think just the opposite. As lovers inherently feel apprehension at the time of separation, out of concern for their beloveds. In this way, the gopis tell Krishna, "Alas, alas, you are extraordinarily daring." Krishna may say, "Why do you fear my walk in Vrindavan?" There is not just one gopi, but millions. And they tell Krishna, "Your lotus feet are very soft, much softer than any lotus." We realize this. We take them in our hands and place them on our very soft breasts. However, when we compare your lotus feet to our breasts, we realize that your lotus feet are millions of times more tender and soft. We know that in comparison to rough pebbles and stones, our breasts are soft, but they do not have the softness and other good qualities of your lotus feet. We therefore hold them on our hearts very gently and carefully so that you do not feel any pain. But now you are roaming in the forest. So we are going to stop here, and then we'll continue next time. The end of the verse 19. Hare Krishna.